I was just watching history videos today from roughly 90 years ago. Things that took place 90 years ago. Stuff about the Nazis, about FDR, President Hoover, Mussolini, etc. One of the things I kind of took away was some things that happened during the Hoover presidency and how that seems to mirror the end of the Trump presidency. And there's that saying, history repeats itself because we don't learn our lessons, but a lot of the things that have been repeating now that happened back then are really things that are either out of our control or it's being done by powers, above the average person. It's hard to put my finger on, but I can kind of see the manipulation behind that era of, like weakening the economy and having all the people out of jobs. And it's been very similar in our time. Never mind, the Spanish flu back then and the COVID-19 thing nowadays. And the way they shut down the economy, for the most part, kind of mirrors the Great Depression. A lot of people are predicting some of the bubbles that have happened are going to burst within the next couple of years. And with the way that the Federal Reserve has been printing off money, has greatly devalued the dollar, and they seem to be planning on doing that some more. And hear about Biden wanting to give different countries lots of money, billions of dollars, which we don't really have. So I think we're going to find ourselves in a situation of hyperinflation. Which is something that happened in the Weimar Republic after they got out of World War I. And we've recently gotten out of Afghanistan, and I'm not quite sure what the situation is in Iraq, but essentially a two-front war. And Germany had a two-front war. So I know things aren't exact. It's sort of like matching up a circle and a triangle, but there are a great many similarities. The rise of the communist Bolshevik groups back then, which they were here too also in the US. It's not talked about as often because the people who make those videos tend to favor that kind of system. But they were here also. And now we have Antifa. It's kind of odd to me how while Biden was running for election, he wouldn't say a fucking word about Antifa. But now he doesn't need them anymore, so just kind of shove them aside and BLM aside. I hope that those groups remember that. I watched some interesting videos recently about someone who pretty much predicted a lot of things that are going on back in '97 in a book he wrote. And if I can, I'll include links to both the videos in the description to, give people a better idea of what I'm talking about. I don't really think I don't think things are going to be very stable for a long time. I think this is about as stable as they're going to be right now. I mean, Biden's pretty much declared war on anyone who voted for Trump or is even remotely conservative. And Antifa, BLM people have more or less declared war on both the federal government and conservatives. So we might have ourselves a nice little three-front war. It'd be interesting. This is that dog that I took in back in March. She was skin and bone, and I'm pretty sure she had dysentery when I got her. And she's doing a lot better now. Sometimes I think that we're heading for something kind of like the late Roman Empire on the eastern side, at least, where the different quote-unquote barbarians were attacking Rome, and Rome would kind of employ either side to fight each other, but eventually that didn't work out so well. And who was it? The Visigoths sacked Rome. I think these different political factions are kind of going to take on that sort of tone, like the barbarian tribes. First fighting amongst each other, and then eventually fighting DC, the modern version of Rome. And we will likely, in time, end up forming new countries, just like Europe did after the fall of the Eastern Roman Empire. I would guess once whatever's going to happen with the economic system and the bubbles and such, that's probably when some sort of civil wars are going to start up. I guess only time will tell.